Hello, hello. Check, check. All right, guys. Hope you guys can hear me. Check, check. I had to double check just to make sure that everyone here can hear me okay. And I really want to make sure that this happens because I know I've experiences where I've ranted on and had really bad audio quality, but I'm very confident that looks like on my end this is working. I'm seeing a couple of comments from other people that it's also working as well. So we're going to get started, guys, in 3 seconds or so. So I appreciate you guys coming in early. And if you guys have any questions at all, I just posted a comment on Facebook. You see that little comment section below. That's where you guys can ask me any question you want. And that's where throughout the training, we're going to be going through some of these questions that you guys may have. And that's really where I want you guys to engage with me. And this is really going to be a fun yet very informative presentation. And the reason why I'm so excited to be presenting this to you guys is, number one, I just want to share my appreciation for you guys to spend your time, hour of your time in the next 60 minutes, to take this time out of your day, out of your busy schedule, and to invest in your education. And I'm super excited that you guys have decided to join us today. And I promise you that the information that we're going to be sharing today is, number one, is going to be the state of the class. These are all science-backed research and advice from the top language experts and linguistic experts and polyglots around the world to help you with one goal, and that's to help you learn any language that you currently have in mind faster. And I hope that today, these next 60 minutes that we're going to be together is going to be the highlight of your moving forward. So I am super excited, and I know that's a big promise, but for those of you guys that have previously attended some of our webinars before can probably attest to this. And there's right now over 100 of you guys here joining us today, and there's nothing more exciting to me than being in such a large room of people all around the world. So share with us below, where are you guys all coming in from? What part of the world are you guys currently based in and listening into right now? Because I know we have students all around the world, from the United States to France, to Australia, United Kingdom. We have people from India to Singapore. Globalized environment that we live in. So put a comment here just below right now, right as we get started. Where are you listening into? We've got Josh, who said he is from Chicago, United States. Very cool. Ben, who says he's from Sydney, Australia. We've got Wendy from the United Kingdom. Wow. Very cool, guys. And thank you guys so much for putting in all of those comments in. So let's get started. And anyone that is joining in a little bit later will hopefully not miss too much, and hopefully you guys are coming in not too late. But you are free language training called How to Learn a New Language in 90. And I'm going to share with you guys the agenda that we're going to be discussing. And we're going to really break this down into 6 golden rules. And we're going to talk about how to get exactly what you want in anything that you do. It's a very simple formula that's been proven time and time again in the past 50 to 70 years. And now we have all this data to back it up of why people achieve certain things and why other people cannot. And we're going to share this secret with you at this webinar. Second point is how you can find time in your schedule to learn anything. I think so many of us think we're too busy to commit to learning a language or commit to getting this new hobby. And we're going to show you how that is really just a myth that we've been told and how you can overcome it. The third point we're going to discuss is how you can learn 92.7% of the language in just 66 days. I know that's a super specific number, so we're going to show you why that is and the research behind that. 4 is we're going to share how you can hack grammar through the 8 golden sentences. Number 5 is how to remember 90% of everything you'll learn. And then lastly is we're going to discuss what Kobe Bryant and Bill Clinton have in common. Now, this is a super interesting point that is one of the key takeaways for a lot of the people that have come to our previous presentations before. And then last but not least, for those of you guys that are here live with us today, we are going to reward you for your patience and for your dedication to come and join us here today and take up this hour of this busy schedule that you have. And we're going to be giving away a free bonus gifts, and this is just going to be limited for today. So for those of you guys that are here, make sure you guys stick around all the way till the end, because this is a bonus gift that you are not going to want to miss. This is not something that we offer to the public, and it's an exclusive prize and gift to thank you guys for sticking around to the end, for committing your time. So stick around all the way to the end, guys, and we're going to share with you exactly what this bonus gift is. Now, before we go on to the presentation, I know there's a bunch of you guys that are here today that have maybe not heard about us before, maybe not have heard about me before. And I want to give you a quick intro of what Rype is all about, so you guys have a great understanding of exactly what it is that we offer. And then we can go on to the presentation. Number one, Rype is 24 Spanish coaching for busy people. And the exciting part is that now, as we go into this webinar, we are looking to expand into multiple other languages like French to Italian to German. So you guys are coming in at a really exciting time right now in our company. And the goal that is to help anyone learn any language on the go, anytime, and anywhere around the world. And that's the real exciting part about what Rype has to really offer. And here's our mission. It's a very simple yet lofty and bold mission. And it's the reason why we wake up every single day to serve our customers. And it's the real reason why it's the real decision maker. It's the real compass of how we make any decision in our marketing, in our product, and the coaches that we hire. And our ultimate goal, guys, is to empower 100 million people to learn any language, anywhere, and any time. Now, it's a lofty mission, and we completely understand that, and it's something that we are extremely passionate about. And this is something that is going to be the big compass for us moving forward. And for time that we have been around, we've already helped over 1,000 students reach fluency in 37 countries. And because of this success, we've been able to be published and publicized on some of the major media outlets around the world, including Entrepreneur Magazine, Time Magazine, Huffington Post, Fast Company, more. And we don't necessarily say that to boast or anything like that. It just wants to show you that the credibility that we have, and this isn't just a random person giving you the presentation and the advice that you're about to be receiving today. This is backed by the thousands of students that we've helped, and also the research behind of what we're going to be sharing with you today. But enough about us, because I think right now it's much more important. The reason why you guys are here is to help yourself learn a new language faster. And I really want to turn the table over to you guys now and ask this one simple question. And that is, why do you want to learn a new language? It's a very simple, open-ended question, and that's, why do you want to learn a new language? Now, there is no right or wrong answer here, but I want you guys to quickly type in to the section below what it is that drives you guys to want to learn a language, and why you guys are here today. Because ultimately, those of you guys that are here today are committed people that are willing to take action. So what is that thing driving you? Is it for you family? Is it career? Is it the ability to travel? And I want to really hear, and I want to be able to read these stories below, because this is something that really gets me fired up. And hopefully you'll be able to share amongst the other people that are in the presentation right now. And here's the thing, guys. We've already done the research for you. And what we have found after interviewing and surveying hundreds of people and finding dozens of studies and research online that shares what it is that drives people to learn language, and what are the 5 main benefits that you get from learning a language, because ultimately there has to be some return. There has to be some benefits that you get for investing this time and energy and money into learning a new language. So what do we get out of it, right, when we are learning a new language? Well, here are the 5 main benefits. Number 1 is you get to improve your career. And any of us listening right now, whether you are in your early 20s or whether you are in your late 40s or even 50s, all of us have this desire to improve our careers, to do what we were meant to do, to serve a purpose, increase our income so we can live and prosper, and not have to worry about living paycheck to paycheck, or to be able to have more freedom in our daily activities and our jobs. Whatever your goal is, the fact is that business to the economics to entertainment, everything is being more globalized. And every second, by the time we finish this presentation, we will have become a more globalized world where everything is now being partnered amongst countries, and we are needing people that can be bilingual, to be trilingual. And the reason is because that's just the way the world is going. We are continuing to do business with South America, in places in Europe, in Asia, and learning another language is the fundamental prerequisite in order to do any of this internationally. And here's the facts that has been provided by the top recruitment agency, by Euro London. And they said that a foreign language can add between 15% increase to your wage. So the simple fact is that learning a foreign language over time help you make more money, period. And after surveying hundreds and recruiting the top people, whether they're executives to junior positions, this is the information that Euro London has found. And I just want to share a quick story of one of our students, Sandy, who's been able to increase her business's income by over 18% in the past 6 months, just because of her ability to now target an Hispanic market that she's never been able to reach before. So maybe we have some people that are in real estate or that work with clients that are from different countries. Whether they can speak English or not, the fact that you can communicate with them in their native tongue has so much more say and commitment and connection that you can build than just being able to use the traditional English language. Is that when you are understanding a foreign language, you become more marketable. And the exciting part is that when you are more marketable in the marketplace, you have more opportunities. There are just more opportunities that are coming to you because of all of these different companies that are trying to hire you, or it gives you the spotlight to go and start your own thing by being able to grasp new opportunities around you. And more opportunities at the end of the day equals to more. I mean, how many times have you told yourself that you in your life? Whether it's more freedom to take a vacation when you want, or it's more freedom to spend your time with your family instead of being stuck in the job or at your office every single day. And what's British Chambers of Commerce study has found in 2013, percent of companies who want to expand to other countries. So say United States wants to expand to South America, in Mexico, or in Europe, they're unable to do so due to language barriers. This is billions and trillions of dollars that are left on the table because companies cannot find enough people that can speak another language in order to be able to communicate and do business across the world. And just to show you guys, this is a study that's being done in 2013. Imagine the amount of opportunities and the amount of companies that are not being able to expand because of these language barriers. Because 3 years ago, after 2013, we are much more of a globalized world today, and many more businesses are trying to go international. So to sum it up, guys, to be able to be more marketable, to be able to have more opportunities, and to be able to have more freedom in your career, you need to have this ability to speak another language so that you can communicate with other people around the world. So it's a huge opportunity that not many people are taking advantage of. And this is something that you can take advantage of today so that you can reap the benefits for tomorrow. Another one of our students, Edson, says that with over 30% of the US population being Hispanic, he was able to leverage the Spanish he's learned using Rype to significantly expand his market in the past 4. Now, the second main benefit to learning a new language is better health. They said that the American Academy of Neurology says that learning a second language can prevent or delay Alzheimer's and dementia by 4.5 years. But this is versus the most powerful drugs in the world, which only delays the disease by 6 to 12 months. It's amazing how much of learning a language can actually mold the brain. It can actually help you shift in terms of reducing your chances of getting any mental illnesses more than the most powerful drugs in the world. This is about 4 to 5 times more effective than putting a pill in your mind. And the great news is that if you're an adult listening to this, at the University of Edinburgh have found that millions of people around the world acquire the language, second language later in life, and that bilingualism, even when acquired in adulthood, may benefit from the aging brain. So, of course, it's no doubt that the genius himself, Sherlock Holmes, was a polyglot himself, even though he was, of course, a fictional character. Now, some of you guys may want to be building deeper relationships. Maybe you have friends, or you have a spouse, or maybe the family of a spouse that you want to connect with, but you're unable to do so because of these language barriers. And coming from a Korean family myself, where I've had to leave Korea to come to Canada at a very young age, I completely empathize with anyone that has these similar issues. And it's an issue because without being able to speak someone else's language, we immediately have prejudgments about people, and we're just not able to have that as we can. And it's not anyone's fault. It's just the way it is. And I can still remember myself being at the dinner table without being able to understand these small kind of Inuit jokes that I was just not able to understand. And I definitely felt that distance away from my family. And for any of you guys that are facing this right now, I can completely empathize with this. And we also have other students like Tamara, who says, growing up with Spanish-speaking family members her whole life, she's always felt a little disconnected due to the language barrier. And since working with her coach, she's been able to feel a much deeper connection with them. The fourth reason is for travel reasons, right? All of us love to travel, but how many of us can actually travel from the perspective of the locals that are living in the countries that we're traveling to? We can always depend on these journalists that write for these major media outlets like TripAdvisor or Lonely Planet. But the fact is that no one can really share with you the hot spots, the local spots, and to have the same travel experience unless you're able to actually build a relationship with the locals there. So maybe you have a trip coming up in the summer, or maybe you've got a trip coming up in the next few months, and you want to be able to make the most out of your travel experience. And then learning a foreign language is one of the best ways you can do it. One of our students, Tony, who is an entrepreneur working on a company, he's traveling a lot, but he's just never really been able to find that right solution to help him learn, even though he has a busy schedule. And because he started to learn with Rype, Tony currently saves over 20 hours a month, you guys, learning from Rype. And then last but not least, and perhaps the most important part, is that you get to increase your level of confidence. And if you see any major leader in the world or any major contender, whether they're a celebrity or whether they are an entrepreneur or a business leader, like Will Smith to Natalie Portman to Mark Zuckerberg, you'll notice that all of these guys can speak a foreign language. And I'm not saying that there's a causation, but there is certainly a correlation to the number of people that have made it, the number of people that are doing major impact in the world because of this ability to communicate with people all around the world and to be able to communicate with people that they want to. So let me just reiterate this back to you guys. What is your purpose for learning a language? We talked about the 5 main benefits that get most people excited and that gets people up in the beds to enjoy the lessons and to start learning Spanish, French, Italian, whichever language you want to learn. But share with us below, what gets you the most excited that language? And I just want to share a quick story with you guys that shares with you how I've been able to come with you guys here today and to be able to present and to have the honor to present this free training that we have for you. And it's a quick story about me and how we got here today. A few years ago, I decided to book a one-way ticket to South America and ended up in Buenos Aires, Argentina. It was still one of my favorite places in the world, and had the ability to travel to places like Machu Picchu and to places like Colombia and Mexico, where I really dived into the culture. And I've had the opportunity to meet the locals that are living in South America and to really develop a bond. And some of my best friends are still in Mexico and South America. As travel always does, it has to end at a certain point. And as disappointing as that was, and as I landed back to Toronto, Canada, which is where I was based at the time, I told myself, I am going to reach fluency in Spanish. And maybe you guys can relate. Maybe some of you guys have had these similar experiences where you've traveled to a foreign country and you've got really a basic knowledge even of the language, and you told yourself that you're going to come back and learn the language. And this is exactly what I went through, and I was super dedicated. And I wanted that same immersive experience that I had when I was living in Buenos Aires, when I was living in Colombia or Mexico, where I could someone live and I can actually have this interaction with someone that can give me immediate feedback, that we can talk about our families, we can joke around, and we can actually have a really great time while being able to reap the benefits of the language. So when I first got home, the first thing that I did was, of course, I try to look up through my friends on Facebook, through my phone, to see if there's any people that could potentially, help me with my Spanish skills. And maybe some of you guys have also been through this, but no luck whatsoever. And I was completely at the bottom pit of what I wanted to do. I still was so dedicated, but there was no real method of learning through these live interactions. So I did what basically 95% of people do. And I resorted to the traditional methods that everyone has to resort to, which was go through a Spanish book. This is the first book that I bought, called the Everything Learning Spanish book on Amazon. I still have this on my shelf. And I still remember trying to put this CD, clunky little CD, on my MacBook, which barely even fit. And there was this generic monotone voice of what sounded like a robot, more or less, trying to teach me Spanish. And this person didn't even have this the accent of anyone in Spanish. And of course, I wanted to learn South American Spanish. It sounded like this person was more from Spain, and it just was a completely different language to me because of how different Spanish from Spain is to Spanish in South America or anywhere else around the world. Not a no-go. And, to tell you the truth, I had the exact same experience with Rosetta Stone, which some of you guys may also have used in the past. You spend over $500 on software where you're really just pushing buttons around and no results to show for it. And again, the same thing with mobile apps like Duolingo or Babbel. None of them really worked, and for 5 main reasons. Number one, it was incredibly boring. I just didn't have that, there was no real life interaction for me to be able to really enjoy a company of someone that I can actually relate to. I didn't have any accountability, so whenever things got busy, I really just ended up pushing it off. Very time consuming without any results to show for it. And I was incredibly frustrated. I'm not going to lie, guys. And maybe some of you guys have experienced this with learning a language or with any skill. Sometimes the wrong methods can really put you on a dark path. And this is that point that I was until I discovered this study and this research done by the National Training Laboratories Institute. And it was a study done called the Learning Pyramid. And it just shows, after doing thousands of surveys and studies and research done on humans and how humans best learn, found is that humans remember only 5% of what we learn when we learn it through a lecture. And just think of the typical language schools, and we only remember 10% of what we learn from reading, 20% from audio and visual, which are more online courses, to YouTube videos, to apps like Duolingo. The amazing part, they found that humans remember 90% of what they learn when used immediately through immersion. So this is real life immersion. This is when you actually speak to someone else. Backtrack, guys. How do we actually learn language today? And this is still surprising to me. Well, most of us still rely on language classes and language schools where you're stuck in a room with 20 to 30 other students with only one teacher to accommodate you. You get stuck in this one-size-fits-all curriculum where you're really only getting 1/30th to 1/20th of the attention that you deserve to truly learn a language, and that's truly personalized to your needs, because you only learn as fast as the slowest student in the class. And that's an unfortunate point that most people don't realize when they first get in. Always learn from books where you only retain 10% of books, or you go through the boring, mundane tasks of going through the mobile app where you're pushing some buttons, expecting yourself to be able to speak a language fluently by the time you're done this program, which never happens. So unfortunately, 90% of us are still learning a language through classroom lectures, books, even software apps. And this really, what results is that over 90% of everything is forgotten that you learn. So this really just results in money and your time, and more importantly, the investment that you have made down the drain as you go. Tim Ferriss, who is the best-selling author of The 4-Hour Chef, 4-Hour Workweek, and a polyglot himself, has discovered what it takes to easily cut the time to fluency by 50 to 80%. And what he's realized of why most language classes simply not work is that conversation can only be learned by doing. It can't be taught, guys. So real world is where mistakes are made, weaknesses are found, and fluency is achieved. So what results is that immersion is the best solution. It beats out classroom lectures, software apps, books, and CDs. And the best part about learning a language is that you get to meet people all around the world. You get to discover their history, discover what their lifestyle is like, and what another place in the world is like. And sometimes you don't actually have to meet them in person. That's the beauty part. So let's dig into the meat of the presentation today. And this is what I'm super excited about. And this is the reason why you guys have decided to come on here with us today. And before we get to this, we have to really discuss these big obstacles that are preventing us. Whenever we're trying to achieve anything, there's always something preventing us from getting there. And all of us have different reasons, all of us have different parts, but for languages, these are the 5 biggest obstacles that we have found from the thousands of students that have been through a program of why they are not able to reach fluency in a language. And here are the 5 guys. Number 1 is that most students don't actually know what they want. And for people that do, it's not specific enough and it's not clear enough. 2, it's the lack of time. So many of us live and carry busy lives, whether it's our work, whether it's our social lives, whether it's really just spending time with our families. Time is always the most important commodity. And that is usually what gets us blocked from learning a language. The third is not knowing where to start. If you didn't really know what the resources are available, so we generally have to resort to sticking with apps like Duolingo, or we spend thousands of dollars on language schools that just don't get us results. Number 4, it's people just don't have foreign friends, which is the first place that most people look in order to help learn a language. And then number 5, it's not having accountability. So, we just shared with you the 5 top ones of why most people are not learning a language. And we'd love to see you, what is one of the things that are stopping you today? And share with us below. All right, all right, I see some of you guys posting already. That's great. Okay. So hopefully you guys can resonate with some of these big obstacles that most people are facing still to this day. Now we're going to get to the big agenda of what we came here to talk about today. And we're going to go through these incredibly fast because I want to be able to respect the time that you guys have gotten here with us today. So we're just going to run through these. And I want you guys to really attention, but grab a pen and pencil and engage with us, because that is really one of the fastest ways that you can retain more information in your brain and how you can actually start to get some real results. So how to learn a new language in 90 days, we're going to show you here right now. And the first step is that you have to set goals. You have to know exactly what it is that you want. And research has shown that people that set goals are most likely going to help focus on what you want. It helps you save time, keeps you accountable and motivated, and it helps you identify your end goal. And I know this is a very generic tip. As simple as it is, you guys here came in to look for these tactics and these specific tips to help you learn a language. And we're going to get to some of these, but we have to start with the fundamentals. And setting goals is really the base of the pyramid. And without that base, whether you are building a house, whether you're building a pyramid or fundamental a language, you need to have this base of setting the right type of goals, or else when you get to your goal, everything can fall apart without having that stability to support you. So ask yourself these following questions, and this is really going to help you understand the process much more clearly. What opportunities will become available by speaking fluently? What would I do if I could speak this language fluently right now? And more importantly, how will I feel after reaching fluency? So the 5 key criteria when you're trying to say is, number 1, you have to be visually specific. 2, it's got to be slightly out of reach, meaning that it's got to make you a little uncomfortable, right? 3, it has to be measurable. We have to know exactly what it is that we're trying to achieve. 4, result-oriented. And number 5, there's got to be a deadline. There always has to be some sort of a deadline, or else we're just going to continuously carry forward without really having that sort of pressure to really complete our goal. So to give you guys some context, we're going to share with you 3 different types of goals, and you guys can actually be able to see what is a good goal versus a bad goal, and what is a great goal versus a bad goal. And this is really going to give you some context about how you should go about setting your own goals. Bad goal is, I want to become fluent in Spanish so I can travel to Spain by next year. You know, it sounds good, and I think a goal is better than any goal is better than having no goal. And this is a great start. But a good goal could be, I want to become conversation fluent in Spanish so I can travel to Spain by next summer. So notice how we got a little bit more specific of how fluent we want to be and when the deadline would be. And here's the real great goal, is I will have a 30-minute conversation in Spanish with a native Spanish person over coffee in a cafe in Madrid on July 2016. So think about how specific that was versus that first goal. And think about how much of the criteria that we talked about, think about how much more visually specific it is. You can actually picture yourself in Madrid. You know, it's slightly out of reach because having a 30-minute conversation is not exactly the easiest thing for a beginner. Measurable, it's results oriented, and more importantly, it has such a specific deadline that there is no confusion. You'll be able to reach this deadline. It's July 2006, and it's not next year, which can easily you know, help you push it off to December of next year, which is not really going to do you any good. So challenge number 1, guys, I want you guys to write down your ultimate goal. Why is it that you're learning a language? What is that specific goal that you have? And more importantly, because we're all action takers here, write down the first 5 things you can do in the next 30 days to get closer to your goal. What's something that can get you closer? Anything small, anything specific, write it down and get that going. The second step, guys, is scheduling. And you know, as Stephen Covey says, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. And what Stephen really meant, Stephen is the best-selling author of the 7 most effective habits of, 7 habits of the most effective people. What Stephen really means is that any one of us can have the ability to learn anything. We just can't have everything. So for those of you guys that have desired to learn a language and have talked about learning a language, you tell all your friends, or you tell yourself that you want to learn Spanish or Italian or German, but you never actually have the time, and you tell yourself that you don't have the time. Well, what Stephen is saying is that all of us can find the time. We just have to schedule it. And it's just a matter of prioritizing it. So if your goal is to write a book, this really just means you need to wake up each morning and write 500 words, no matter how bad the first draft is. If you want to double your business sales, it means spending every week with your team, reviewing your sales numbers, and executing a new growth experiment. If you want to lose 10 pounds, it could mean running 30 minutes every morning, no matter how tired you are from the previous workout. It's really about consistency, consistency, and consistency. What I ask you guys, what I recommend you guys do is to use and take advantage of these great digital calendars where you can actually get alerts and actually understand what you have coming up. So, it could be memorizing 30 words a day every morning before you go to work, and actually scheduling that as a priority of. And for some of you guys, for those of you guys that are taking lessons, it could mean, scheduling a lesson at 9 a.m. if you want with your teacher. So challenge number 2, guys, is select a free 30-minute slot on your calendar, whether it's in the morning, evening, and insert an event called language learning. Okay, and set it on daily repeat as you can. And it could be as small as 15 minutes. It could be even as small as 5 minutes. And just repeat that for 21 days. That's all you need to do. And this is really what's going to get the momentum going. And through building this habit, it's no longer going to be an effort for you to learn a language. And soon enough, you're going to gain this amazing momentum. And before you know it, you're gonna have achieved so much great success that's going to give you more confidence to take more action. And that action is going to give you more result. And that result is going to give you more confidence to take action. And that is how the most successful learners and the most successful performers get to that next level. Now I want to get into some of the specifics, guys. We talked about how you can learn 92.7% of the language in 66 days. Talk about this. I want to talk about this one theory called the Pareto's Law. And for those of you guys that have not heard about it, no worries. I'm going to spend no more than a minute just giving you a context of what Pareto's Law is all about. And the theory came from a man named Alfredo Pareto way back in the 1800s, I believe. And he was an Italian economist who realized that of all of the richest people owned over 80% of the land, which was represented as wealth back in the day. And what Pareto and a lot of the counterparts have discovered is that it's not only the land that is owned by the 20% of people, but almost anything that we think about in our life, whether it's our time, whether it's the amount of money we make through our business, or whether it's our happiness, 20% of the few vital variables will always result in 80% of the results. And our goal is really to focus on that 20% of time or money or people that are going to deliver 80% of the results. And you can see here, just to give you an example, that in terms of the consumer debt and the expenses that are done, you can just see that housing and transportation are the 20% that make up 80% of all expenses. And you can really apply this in everything. 80% of your productivity comes from 20% of your activity. 80% of your profits come from 20% of your products. To 80% of maybe your unhappiness comes from 20% of people in your life, and you just need to cut them out. So when you're applying this to languages, the same thing applies. And Professor Alexander Argulis, who is recognized as one of the world's most famous and respected linguists, has discovered that when you study the 2,000 most frequently used words in any language, that will help you familiarize with 92.7% of the vocab of any language. And here's the really interesting part, is that when he went on to study the 3,000 most frequently used words, which is 1,000 more than 2,000, you're only getting 94% of the vocabulary in the oral speech. So What does that mean? It means that when you're studying 1,000 more words from 2,000 to 3,000, you're only getting a 1.3% of additional. That's not a lot to learn 1,000 more words and to commit to learning 1,000 more words. So the trick, guys, is that you want to do as little as possible to get the maximum amount of reward, in that you want to learn the most common words in any language that will give you 80 to 90% of understanding and familiarity in any language. And if you think about English or any language that you currently know, how many of the words do you actually use? About 10 to 20% of the words that we use in the English vocabulary is used 90% of our time in our everyday conversations. When we're talking to friends or family, we generally don't use words, difficult or philosophical words that we've learned throughout university or college. So the trick here is to spend 22 days per month, that's every weekday, skipping the weekends for break, and that will give you 1,980 words that you can learn in 66 days. So for the third one is look up the most common words in your target language. That could be Spanish, that could be French, that could be Italian, whatever that is for you. Look up the most common words, or you can join our Learn a Language challenge. Time in your schedule every day to memorize 30 words a day, and that's how you guys can get to your goal and to learn 92.7% of any language in 66 days. So 4 is grammar. What is grammar really? And it seems like grammar is one of the most complicated things when you're learning a language for most people. But if you think about it, grammar really does 3 things, right? Number 1, it adds words. It could go from you like it to do you like it. It changes existing words, which is I eat it, to I ate it. And then number 3, it changes the order of those words, such as this is nice to is this nice. And one of the most important sentences that you can use to learn Spanish, French, Italian, German, any of these is the I give John the apple. It's one of the most common used sentences, and they call it the 8 golden sentences because when you can memorize and familiarize yourself in the target language, once you have directly translated it from English, this teaches you everything about the pronouns, everything about the sentence structure, the conjugations, and basically everything that you need to know in order to understand how a language works is from these 8 sentences. And as simplified as that sounds, that's how powerful this is. So the fourth task that I want you guys to do is write down the 8 golden sentences on one side of the paper and then translate it in your target language, or you can ask a teacher or a friend to do this for you. And then just use it as a reference to analyze the difference of sentence structures. And I'll give you guys some time to take a screenshot of this or to write it down. But this is one of the most powerful language structures in to learn language. And you guys can just type in "I give John the apple" sentences on Google. All right. So number 5 is remember 90% of everything you learn. And guys, thousands of studies and research and the world's linguists, professors to polyglots around the world have all attested to this, is when you're learning a language, the only way to learn anything faster is by immersion. And if you think about it, whether you have learned to ride a bike or whether you learned how to swim as a child, we learned it by doing. There was no real other way that we did it other than learning it by doing. Georgetown University Medical Center found that between 2 groups, the one that was immersed in a language actually portrayed brain patterns of a native speaker after 5 months, where most of the subjects were adults. Now, this is how powerful being immersed in a real life is when you're talking about learning a language, because it can actually mold the patterns of your brain by being immersed. A quick few tips to immerse yourself in your everyday home or in your everyday life is number one, and these are some quick hacks that you guys can do, is start labeling things around your house, whether it's a door, whether it's your bed, whether it's your drawer or your TV. Just get out a simple note and translate it in your target language. And what happens is that you only need to do this once, and that's the beauty part. But as you walk around the house, you are constantly immersed in these translations where after a certain point, you don't even have to think about translating it into your target language, or you don't even need the post-it notes, because it's immediately going to be triggered into your brain because you're going to be spending under house seeing all of these translations. So it makes it a super easy way, very frictionless experience to learn. The second is taking advantage of movies, if you're a big fan, or TV shows that you already watch, genres that you already watch, and then really just translate it using subtitles. So what we personally recommend is actually, to get the best results, is to use the audio version of your target language. So if you're trying to learn Spanish, listen to it in Spanish audio, and then use use subtitles in your preferred language. And your native language could be English or any language that you speak. So we shared with you the study from the National Training Laboratories, where humans remember 90% of what we learn when we use it immediately through immersion. And this is a key point, right? Because this helps you learn 18 times faster than the traditional methods of learning through a classroom. Remember, classrooms, we only remember 5%, versus real life immersion is 90%. That's up to 18 times faster. And as Benny Lewis, who is a polyglot and the founder of Fluent in 3 Months, the world's most popular language blog, says that the only way he reaches spoken fluency quickly is to get a hell of a lot of spoken practice, which totally makes sense. Number 6 is coaching. And this is exactly what Kobe Bryant and Bill Clinton have in common. And I want to read you this quick quotation, and it's that asked, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So whether you are Kobe Bryant, that is trying to win a championship, and who was supported by Phil Knight, one of the greatest basketball coaches, to Bill Clinton, who had Tony Robbins on his side at times when he had his difficult turns. So if you think about this in our regular day lives, if you're trying to lose weight, we have personal trainers. If you're trying to run a business, you have a business coach. And the reason why coaching is so effective, guys, is it can all be explained in what's called the training curve. And this is what the world's best athletes, this is what top performers, to business leaders, to athletes, all experience, no matter how experienced you are. And it's this training curve, which is the upward and downward slope that we all experience whenever we're learning something new. And over time, what happens is that when we go through all of these slopes, we get this feeling of amazing excitement, which is called the honeymoon phase, to the crisis mode, when at this point where you're ready to give up, you're losing motivation. And think about it. I mean, we've all had these experiences, right? Maybe you're studying for an exam, or maybe you are trying to learn a new skill, whether it was language or whether it was something else, where you're really just down in the slopes, right? And most people have 3 decisions that they can make in this crisis mode. They can either quit, they can accept it and let go, which is kind of like an extended crisis mode, or they can start accepting the experience, start testing, start learning from a coach, and gain that new confidence in this transformation. And what you notice here is the unique thing about a training curve is that every time you go through the next training curve is at the lowest point of your next training curve higher than the highest point of your previous curve. So that's super exciting, and that really shows you how much you have improved. Is that even though you are at your lowest, once you can get back to this point, you are always going to be at this higher point, and you get this accumulated return on investment from being able to work with a coach that can get you out of this crisis mode, which is really when that point where most people quit and never get to realize their goals, their dreams, and what they really strive to achieve for. So having a coach or having someone that can keep you accountable is going to help you increase your clarity and focus. It's going to keep you accountable and motivated. It's going to help you accelerate your results, give you guidance and a plan of action, especially when you're not knowing where to start. And more importantly, it's going to help you reach your full potential. So key points here, I mean, you guys can start by going and finding accountability partners through conversation exchanges, through a friend or family, through a meetup, or you guys can go through a professional like Craigslist or what Rype offers. So avenues you guys can offer, but I encourage you to not go at it alone. Language learning already, it's meant to be a social activity. It's meant to be an experience where you can meet people from different cultures and to have people keep you accountable through the experience. Because the whole point of learning a language is to use it with other people. It makes sense that we should also learn it from other people. So I encourage you guys, ask yourself, what are some of the factors that may lead you to quit? And when studies have been done about what got people to quit and what didn't get people to quit, is that the people that didn't quit were prepared ahead of time. They knew themselves well enough to understand why it is that they quit and why they didn't reach results. And most of the time, it's lack of time or lack of accountability and motivation that got people to quit. So yourself already ahead of time, it makes it a lot easier for you to really overcome these barriers, because you're not going to be surprised when those times eventually come. So share with us below what it is exactly that is some of the factors that may lead you to quit today. So these are the 6 steps, guys, to reaching fluency in 90 days. You got to learn how to set goals. Number 2, you have to schedule your priorities ahead of time. Remember that all of us have the time to learn a language. It's not something that needs to take up a lot of your time, and it's something that can fit right into your schedule. Number 3 is focus on the most common words. This is the Pareto's law we talked about, where you can get 20% of the activities giving you and delivering you 80% of the results that you want. Number 4 is use those 8 golden sentences to hack grammar. 5, immerse yourself and make sure that you're using and practicing the language rather than just learning it through a textbook or learning it through a classroom lecture. And then number 6, find a coach or find an accountability partner that can truly get you through that crisis mode and into new transformation. So guys, and ask you, what is that one step action? What is that one action step you guys can take today? And it could be as small as going out and attending a meetup in your local city and meeting people that are like-minded so that you guys can actually start to practice the language that you're learning. Or it could be to load a new language software that you want to use, or it could be to sign up for a free trial of Rype. It could be any of those things. And really, what's really more important is that you want to be able to take some action step that you can take today and gain that momentum. So about the 80-20 principle and how 20% of the few vital tasks, whether it's time, investment, or the resources, is what delivers 80% of the results. And this is what we really want to end it off here today, is that when you're talking about the measure of effectiveness of learning a language or really anything else, is that what we've found is the combination of coaching and immersion is what is going to deliver 80% of the results for you. Versus classrooms and programs like Rosetta Stone, they tend to be the most effective, they tend to be the most expensive without giving you the results that you want. And then the apps and books and YouTube tend to be the least effective. And when it also comes to average time to reach fluency in terms of months, coaching and immersion combined is what delivers 80% of the results, and it's what gets you the fastest results as well. Study in mind by the National Training Laboratories Institute, and really make a concise decision on what exactly is the path that you want to go to today. So what we have combined to do at Rype is combine the real life immersion with professional coaching, and we've designed the product and the experience and the entire experience to make sure that we have fundamentally giving you that experience, to give you real life immersive experience through coaches from around the world, and that are native speakers from South America to Spain, and as we expand into French around the world. So what we offer is Spanish coaching for busy professionals. There's no one really better that can explain it than one of our own students, Claire, who says that what Rype offers is so magically simple yet powerful. It's bringing that real life immersive experience of learning a language in a foreign country to your screen. And it's the reason, because of this effectiveness, why we have students like Hannah, who went from zero knowledge to conversation fluency in Spanish in just 3 months. And I think this was about 3.5 months or so. But keep in mind that she was also a student at UCLA. She was doing her MBA program at UCLA in Los Angeles. And that's how fast she's been able to use it, because she doesn't depend on mobile apps and pushing buttons that are really not as engaging, but she's speaking with a live person one-on-one to help improve her skills. So I want to give you guys some context and some idea of how Rype actually works. And I'm going to give you an inside look of what it's like at the Rype platform, and give you an idea of exactly what you guys will get. For those of you guys that want to take advantage of the free gift that we have at the end of this presentation. How we're truly different than the different platforms that are out there is that, number one, compared to language schools, we actually have and offer one-on-one private language lessons. Instead of accommodating to 10 other students, you can actually get a dedicated teacher. And of course, we have unlimited language lessons that you can take advantage of on a 24/7. So this is what it looks like on the Rype platform itself. And to schedule your lessons, all you have to do is click one button, which is Buy Your Match Coaches. And once you get inside there, what will happen is you can select any of the coaches that you want and pick a time that you are available. And you'll see that we have a lot of availabilities around your own time, where you can simply confirm, add your information, experience or audio experience you want, and your lesson is booked. And now the second way we also allow you to book lessons is, instead of choosing by your coaches, we also allow you to book it by your time availability. And this really allows you to book lessons based on your availability rather than depending on the availability of your coaches. And this is really what differentiates us from any other product that's out there, because you can book times on when you're free. Control over your schedule. So let's say you want a lesson on Sunday at 8:30 a.m. All you have to do is go through that same process, and is that when you click schedule event, you will automatically be assigned to a coach that's available at that time. And the beauty part is that once your lesson is booked, you can add it to one of your favorite calendars where you'll get a confirmation email once your lesson is booked. And you'll even get some reminders before your lesson starts. And then, of course, you have the option of rescheduling or canceling your lesson if you so desire. Now, at the time of the lesson, what will happen is your teacher will actually reach out to you, and you can decide to have your lesson experience on the desktop, on your tablet, or for a lot of busy people that are living their lives on the go, you can have it on the go as well. As long as you can download the Skype application on your mobile phone, you can have it on the go. One of our favorite benefits that our students love is the personalized feedback documents that each student gets after each session. And the way this works is that the teachers will be able to record the mistakes and the errors you've made, the new materials that you learned, and then some follow-up assignments and resources for the week or for until your next lesson starts. And then last but not least, what we offer is allow you to go beyond the private lessons by offering these premium video lessons that you can take advantage of. So when you're not enjoying your lessons, whether it's late at night and you want to be able to continue learning, you can actually start to enjoy a lot of these videos. And we actually break it down from beginner to intermediate to different plans. Now, we do have a lot of video testimonials that we could share with you, but because this doesn't allow you any audio, we are going to have to pause this section. So for those of you guys that want to take advantage of the trial, what we are going to do is allow you of this early on. And then what I'm going to do is go back to answering a lot of the questions that you guys may have. So again, this is a special limited time offer that we have just for today. This is really a reward for those of you guys that have decided to come on and stay until the end, and to really reward you guys for being so patient with us. And the reward is that we are going to offer you guys a special limited time to get over $40 off to join Rype. And the promotion code that you guys are going to use is GIFT 2016. And this is something that's going to expire today. So for those of you guys that are interested, we encourage you guys to take action by going to rypeapp.com/FB-special. That's rypeapp.com/FB-special. And if you guys do have any questions, you guys are always free to email us at help@rypeapp.com. So those of you guys that do have any questions, this is your time to go and to this page right now and to be able to take advantage of the offer that we have. And checking out the page, I'm going to go ahead and answer some of the main questions that most people ask when they are about to join Rype. So number one is, how is Rype different from language schools or any other language websites? And we went through this very quickly, that there's clearly no better choice than what Rype offers. We offer you the ability to learn online anywhere you want, privately through a live interaction with a dedicated coach. We offer unlimited private lessons, on-demand scheduling, personal matchmaking, and then we give you the benefits and the additional resources that is needed when you're learning a language, which is personalized feedback documents, premium video lessons, and even a free trial to give it a go, because that's how confident we are about the experience and the results that you'll get. And most students understand within the first few days whether and how impactful Rype really is. Risk-free 14-day free trial for those of you guys that just want to give it a go. And when you're really getting down to the numbers, unlike the language schools, any additional overhead costs, admin staffing costs, insurance costs, or any of the building costs that these generally have to endure. So what you're really getting here is not only the ability to save time because you don't have to go and commute 30 minutes each way, but you're really getting more value for 1/10 of the price. And we shared with you the 1 to 8 student to teacher, a teacher to student ratio that most language schools have versus what Rype offers, which is a private one-on-one learning experience. So we kind of did this quick math where if a language school was actually to offer the same value that Rype offers, this is exactly what they will get. Is if they were to offer the one-on-one in-person sessions, feedback documents, 24/7 access, and the free trial lessons, and everything else that we offer, that would be 10 times more than what Rype is charging. And it's the same reason why our students, like James says, instead of going to a language school and paying over $1,000, I can receive private one-on-one lessons with my Rype coach for 10% of that price. Second choice is, how will I be billed? That's another great question. So as we mentioned, everyone here today not only gets a 14-day free trial, but they get $40 off when they first join Rype. So let's say you joined on October 1st, let's say. What will happen is that we do ask you to put your credit card information, which will explain why. Purposes, you're not going to get charged anything. And for the first 14 days, what will happen is that you get to enjoy the trial for free, risk-free. And if you guys do decide to continue, what will happen is that, number one, you'll get $40 off your first month, and you will be billed every month occurring after that. How the billing does work is simple. There's no hidden fees, none of that. It's a simple, straightforward monthly recurring price. If you want to pause, that is also a great option. So some of you guys want to go on vacation. Some of you guys have work projects or stuff that's going to keep you obligated sometimes. And we want to be 100% flexible to help you do that. And that's the reason why we allow you to pause up to 2 months when you are a Rype member, so that you can take time off to finish off anything that you need to do before you want to go and resume and enjoy your lessons again at Rype. Question is, why do you ask for my billing information? So there's a couple of answers of why we actually do this. And the truth is that we actually started not billing people. We actually started by not asking people for their billing information, and we allowed people to try it out for free. But as we started to grow and as we started to expand, we definitely need to validate the level of people that are actually coming on, because at the end of the day, we still do have to pay our teachers, and our teachers spend time preparing for the trial lessons that are coming ahead. And what we realize is that when people are not putting some information down, they're not as committed. And what we've found is that a lot of people that did sign up weren't showing up for the trial lessons. They weren't as committed, versus after we started asking them, even though there was no difference because no one gets charged, a lot of people were more committed. People were willing to commit, and people were willing to get do the work in order to get the results they want. So that is the reason why we ask for your billing information. Is at the end of the day, we want students to get better results. We want students to be more committed so that they can get the results that they want. And for us, that's really one of the most important indicators to make any decisions on in our product. And then the last question is, I'm not sure if I'm ready yet. What should I do? And this is a question we get a lot, and I know there's a ton of people that may be on the fence here, but really at the end of the day, you want to be able to ask yourself, and what are the downsides of trying it out for free? There's very few companies that offer free online, and we're very confident, and that's part of the reason why we offer this. But at the end of the day, you really want to ask, what are the main benefits that come from learning a language? And we talked about this briefly, but we're just going to reiterate it for you so that you can really get an idea of why it is that you want to learn a language in the first place. So number one is improving your career. right? We talked about how the world is becoming a more globalized world, and how businesses to entertainment to politics, everything is becoming more internationalized. And that's growing by the second, guys. This is something that all of us can take advantage of by taking by preparing today so that we can actually be ready when that time comes, when everything becomes more globalized. Number two is, do you want to improve your mental health? Do you want to improve your ability to focus? Do you want to improve your mental health and reduce any of the potential risks that you have, whether it's any sort of diseases or any sort of cancer that may be preventing you from reaching your full potential? Number three could be forming deeper relationships with your family or your friends or your spouse or your spouse's family, anyone that's around you in your life that you care about. Do you want to be forming a deeper relationship with them? That is something that is lacking right now in your life. You're going to travel the world. You've got a trip coming up in the next few months or in the summer, and you want to be able to really travel like one of the locals and to have that full travel experience that you've never really had before. Importantly is to increase your confidence. I think there's something to be said about being able to speak a foreign language that 99% of your friends are not able to understand, or that are not able to speak, and to be able to communicate with someone could have before. And there's nothing more exciting than I can say than to be able to actually build a real connection and to be able to share that communication to someone that you never would have been able to understand just a few months ago. So it's this transformative change that you go through in your life, in your career, and through the rest of your life, really, that will really stay with you. And that's the real reason that I think most people are to or get the benefits of learning a language that people don't even know when they first start. So, I'm going to share some testimonials real quick for those of you guys that want to hear some inspiring stories. We've got Tamara, who says, to be honest, it seemed almost too good to be true when my friend first told me he was using Rype. After just 30 days of joining, I can't imagine learning a language any other way. We've got Greg Russell from Sydney, Australia, who's also an entrepreneur. Maybe some of you guys listening are entrepreneurs. He says that ultimately what's great about using Rype is that it's incredibly immersive, and I can feel myself improving after each lesson. But most importantly, it fits right into my lifestyle schedule, no matter how busy I am during the week. And maybe we've got some of the older folks here. We've got Bob Cadwell, who is from Washington, D.C., says that I've tried just about everything, every language method that you can imagine, from Duolingo to Rosetta Stone to italki, and none of them worked. And so many of us have this internal belief that because we're too old, learning a language is too difficult for us. But what Bob is saying is that if he can do it, then so can you. And so many of us let languages set our age or set our innate talent in the way of learning a language. This goes to show that any one of us can learn a language, and that age really has nothing to do with it. It's really about choosing the right method. And for a lot of us, we've always been burned by choosing the wrong methods in the past, and we've never really been able to explore the new paths that have come to rise through the rise of technology and through the rise of communication tools today. So, guys, we've got hundreds of testimonials that we could share with you today, but really, it's really about taking action first. And that's the reason why we have set up this 14-day free trial for any one of you guys to enjoy up to 3 match coaches that you can try with a customized lesson experience and with the ability to switch coaches anytime. And you get that unlimited learning, which is unheard of in the language learning industry. And that's the reason why we're so excited to present this to you. So again, guys, all you guys have to do to take action is to go to rypeapp.com/FB-special. and you guys are going to be able to get $40 off your first month, including the 14-day free trial, risk-free. And I encourage you guys to take some sort of action today. And it may not be with Rype, which we're 100% okay with, but we're that confident that Rype is able to help you, as it has helped hundreds of other students. Or you could decide that maybe right now is not the right time for you, and you may want to go to a local language meetup or anything else. So while we're not 100% trying to really sell this upon you, but we are that confident that we can deliver the right results for you. I urge you to try it out for free today and give this 14-day trial a go, because the offer that we have will expire today, and there is no better time to try out Rype than today, because this is really the lowest price that we will go to at Rype, as we are continuously increasing the value and the price that comes with the experience. So guys, thank you guys so much for sticking around until this point. And if you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to email us at help@rypeapp.com, and someone from our team is going to get back to you and to be able to help you out immediately. So thanks guys for sticking around all the way to this point, and I really look forward to having you guys inside of the Rype family.